Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining. I am very excited, first of all, to see so many people, so many faces join in. This is my 10th book. I was just before I got into the call, trying to remember all 10 names. I was able to remember all 10 of them. Plus one on all the good memories. And apparently, it is that. Maybe I have, penned 15, and out of which 10 are mine. So I also was reminded of the other five as well. So my journey is a very interesting one. So it started off in the last benches of my college, second semester, and until then I had never, really thought of poetry at all. This was just something that happened, and like my second book, Swayambhu. So yeah, I am simply a Swayambhu writer, and over the course of the last 12 years, the Swayambhu has made sure that I pen more than 7,000 plus poems. And somewhere beyond that, I stopped counting, and life has gone on. And somewhere I had also told myself that I am not going to write poetry anymore. But after that, somewhere three more poetry books have emerged from the creative consciousness, and yeah, so that's about it in terms of uh, how things started, where they are right now. And to add a little bit about the context, and maybe even before I get to that, do you have any questions from your side? Uh, yes, Deb, you have some question.
Yeah, what was the? I'm curious to sort of learn what pivoted you into poetry.
I think to answer that question, I don't think there was any pivot to get into poetry. I think the this thing was majorly into stay in poetry. I think that was the biggest this thing. So I wrote my first poem. My first poem was in Kannada, and it was very philosophical, and that is where I started calling myself by a pen name. And then everything else was just as is. It just moved. I never had to think about writing a poem, and the poems flowed. So pivot was that. So it just happened. It's like we are on 24th, sorry, Feb 14 today. Sometimes love just happens, and you're a spectator in that process. So my love story with poetry is also like that. That it
ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ
just
ಇರಪ್ಪ. ಲವ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು 13 ವರ್ಷದ ಹಿಂದೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ
Yeah,
ಅನ್ಭವಿಸ್ತೀವಿ.
so love just happened with poetry, and continues to be a love story that goes on. But yeah, I think we've had marriages, and then 10 books have also come as part of that. So I think that was it, Deb. So just adding on to that space of finding out that poetry is in me. I think a few people essentially said, continue to write, and that was the aspect in terms of uh, continuing to write, and that just somewhere continues to be magic even today.
Okay, thank you.
So we have maybe two more questions until we get into the next part. So Sagar, you had something to share.
I only said when you said just like how love happens, poetry happens. Just wanted to share 13 years ago on the same day, for an arranged marriage, on the same day, I had to propose with very big bouquet. At the same time, almost 7 ಗಂಟೆಗೆನೆ. For an arranged marriage, just imagine, for an arranged marriage, on this day I go and propose. I mean,
happens. The things
ಅದು
we
ಹೆಂಗೆ
love.
ಸೂಸೈಡು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಮರ್ಡರು ಎರಡು ಜೊತೆ ಸೇರ್ಸಿ ಹಿಂಗೇನು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ವರ್ಡ್.
That is called love.
And the result is here.
And he is a fantastic poet. So all your fantastic storyteller. So that is that is the result of that romance. Fantastic.
So, Sunil,
Mm-hmm.
my question is not about you, but it is about, see, over the course, and coincidentally, I and Sunil happen to come from the same school, although Sunil is 10 years junior to me. Sunil, if you look at the whole evolution of poetry or that whole suite about literature, over the generations, what do you see evolution as? How many poets you think in your generation? We have at least 10 to 12 years of gap. And you ಯಾವ model ಅಪ್ಪ? I am a 1983 model. What about you?
We are a 92 model.
So ಒಂದು 10 ವರ್ಷ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Okay. Now, how do you see that evolution? In my generation, I saw it was anyway declining, and people had only two choices: medical, engineering. Ad bitre, there is nothing life on the generation. How is it literature or poetry as such, as a serious profession or something very serious? How is it in your school time? ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ batch, how is it with respect to poetry?
I don't think I had any inkling of poetry at school. And we were like, I think, at school, most of the things around poetry was we will read it, we will recite it, and we'll get marks for it. So that was the end of, that was the start, the beginning, and the end of poetry. But I think stories, one of the teachers, was very strongly saying, why is the author writing like this? What happens when something like this? So some level of critical thinking as to what is that poet trying to say was one of the, I think, the seeds that was put there. And that continues to be a place where, in one of the spaces why I appreciate poetry is because of those seeds. So, I think I still remember Sarojini Naidu's poem. So, sevenfold height of heaven. So they had asked me why sevenfold? Why not six? Why not four? And I said, there are seven layers or seven things to get to hell and get to heaven. So that was the spark for me to even look at something in terms of poetry. But as a profession, I don't think it is ever a place of possibility. And even now, when I look back at it, poetry writing is something that's growing great. But there's still a lot more in terms of possible awareness, because I think my favorites, even with this book, is that people think that poetry is about rhyming words. People think that poetry is, writing about love, writing about romance, writing about heartbreak, writing about sadness. But I think it is much, much more than that. So I've written about how does it feel like to be Teresa's, an ode to my bum. Why are crows not there in selfies? So I've like really traced some very strange topics, and I've been accepted as a coach even after I've written strange topics. Not I've accepted as a poet even after I've done this. And I think I've been respected more because I'm doing this. So I feel that the trend is free verse, people are expressing, sharing, that sort of a expectation that, you should have the syllable count, sonnets, etc., etc. That's slowly dying. And I have been fortunate to meet a lot of very good poets, and some of them are also here in the call. So, and also somewhere this space of I don't think I am of the generation that judges somebody else's poem based on syllables, rhymes, etc. But more of how is it making us feel. So a long answer to your question.
See, why I ask you this question is, I happened to meet this young man by name Madhav Ajampura. Now, this Madhav Ajampura spent almost 5+ years to do only one thing. He has translated Dara Bedre's selective poems into English. And one of the greatest translation, what I have seen, see, translating the prose or an article into any language is easy, but translating a poem is so very tough. Kannada poem, ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಬಂದ್ರೆ, one of the poems of Bedre says, ಮಲ್ಲಿಗಿ ಮಂಟಪದಾಗ ಕೂತು ಗಲ್ಲ ಗಲ್ಲ ಹಚ್ಚಿ ಕೂತು ಹಾರಿ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತ that's a poem. Now, in that, what Madhav explains, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, whom do you think Bendre would have written to? ಮಲ್ಲಿಗಿ ಮಂಟಪದಾಗ ಕೂತು ಹಾರಿ ಕುದುರೆ ಬೆನ್ನ ಹೇರಿ. Can any of you, in case, would be able to throw some light? ಮಲ್ಲಿಗಿ ಮಂಟಪದಾಗ ಕೂತು ಹಾರಿ ಕುದುರೆ ಬೆನ್ನ ಹೇರಿ ಹಾರಿ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತ ಯಾರಿಗ್ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ಬೋದು ಈ ಪೋಯಮ್ನ? I was really surprised when Madhav explained in that book. ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಅವ್ರ ಮಗನಿಗೆ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮಂಟಪ ಅಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ರೊಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ವೆರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಟು ಮೀಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮಾಧವ್ ಅಜಂಪುರ್. ಒಂದು ಗಂಟೆಗಟ್ಲೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾತಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಟಿಪ್ಟೋ ಅಂತ ಇದು ಒಂದು 3 ವರ್ಷ ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. And that is writing is his profession, Sunil. Okay, but what I saw that ಇಂತ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಪುಣ್ಯಾತ್ಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆ ಒಂದು ಜನರೇಷನ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬ್ಲೇಮ್ ಮೈ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ some 2 generations before me, ಆ ಪೊಯೆಟ್ರಿನೇ ಹೊರಟೋಯ್ತು. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್, ರೈಟ್? ದಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಜ್ಞಾನಪೀಠ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ಎಸೆನ್ಸ್, ಆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್, ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಐ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಸ್ಟನ್ಡ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಡೆಡಿಕೇಶನ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ನೀವು ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಶೋ ಯು ದಟ್ ಬುಕ್, Sunil. One of my possessed, one of my pride possession is Madhav Ajampur's that book.
Okay, come here, all of you. Come.
I think Sunil, time aita?
Yes.
Okay, I think I took a lot of your airtime, man. Sorry.
No worries. Happy that through this there's also an introduction of another book to more people, and I think Bendre Raja's poems are of another level. So maybe I will take one more question, and then I'll get into the reading aspect of some parts of the poem, some parts of the book, and then we will get to that. So in like, how many of you know the name of the book? Harish.
Sorry, Sunil, I didn't listen to your question.
Sorry, the name of the book.
Harish, you are muted.
Oh yeah, no, I think Harish, you have to speak when you are unmuted now.
Sorry, is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Born in 3 Days, right? That's your book.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love the idea of your previous book as well. What was that? One in
Out of
one day.
Nowhere. Out of Nowhere.
Yeah, I've read your poems. Amazing, man. I think you're a fantastic poet. Just do it. All these rules, forget what people have done. Great poets, there's no such thing. All that is just made up. Everybody can express. Everybody is a poet. Everybody is creative. There's no good, bad, right, wrong. There's nothing like this. Anything that is done with the heart is beautiful. Even a kid writes 2 lines, it is more beautiful than a great composed poem with some structure and all of that. So fantastic. Just I congratulate you, and I my best wishes. Whatever I can do to support you, I'm happy to do that.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, so, with that space, the idea of asking the topic of the book or the name of the book was that, the idea behind this book is basically to give myself that space to write 100 poems a day. It essentially happened to be 45 at the end of day 1. And one of my very close friends, Harshita, she said, Pungi, you should finish 100 because you said you will do 100. And she gave some motivational speech. So thankfully, I was not demotivated. I was motivated to write the second day. I've made it to 80 the day 2, and 108. I made it 100 and on day 3, and I said 108 is a good number. 108 malas for it. And then I was thinking of putting a good, very interesting title to this, and that's how Born in 3 Days happened, because all of these poems are coming in 3 days. So that is the idea of Born in 3 Days. So yeah, that is how the book began. That is how the book finally is manifesting. And I think also the book was put in place as an ebook in a day. So basically it's born in 3 days and basically growing up in a day. So, and hopefully it will be something that you will enjoy forever, not just in 3 days and 4 days. And there are poems, I think, all across, very varied. So there's never a shortage of poems that have come here. And after 108, somebody said, why don't you start doing more and more such things, write some more, and do crazy stuff. So do you want to listen to one of a few of those that I have written? Just randomly jumping onto some of those. Mhm. Maybe I will ask you to write in the chat box, possibly what could be the title of this. So this follows the tradition of most of my books in terms of this not having any title. So they're just numbers and that's how you'll know. And yeah, so I think I will go for one. Yeah. So maybe possibly this one's the fifth poem. So it goes like this. It rains when she's around, it rains joy. Emotions pour into a cocktail of romance. My eyes dance, sparkle like trees upon seeing rain. When she bids farewell, I hold on to the songs of Petrichor. I hold on to the flood of stories, words, poems. She lives in her wake. It rains when she's around. It rains of joy. So basically, it's about me and poetry. So whenever poetry comes to me, I think I am dancing in joy. So this is about that aspect. So if I had not told you the context behind this, I don't think you would have got to that point saying this is how it is. So anything on the chat, any space where you, I don't think I gave you space and time to sort of even think about it. Rain dance, Deb says. Yeah, I think it is a dance with joy. So yeah, this one's also another one. So this one is number 22. The forest is usually quiet. It's in the silence that you observe ants diligently working and foraging the forest floor. The bees that visit the flower, that visit flower after flower in great joy, they get offloaded with pollen in exchange for services rendered. The birds perched up above, trying its best to catch a bit of rest, while tigers lurk in the shadows and sometimes yawn in boredom. The tree is full of life too. The water is slowly making its way up, calling its friends to ask if it's all well too. The green leaves are very much working to cool the forest down. In silent harmony, life exists, no shouts of glory, awards, and most importantly, no more of ego. So this is one of the poems in here. Any thoughts on it? Any possibility of what is the title? I think it's pretty chill in terms of this. So this is also another one. This is number 26, maybe the last of the ones that I will read. So I've been asked to put you in silos, to put you into labels on your vices, your prayers, color, caste, creed, and more. I've been asked to see you differently, to distinguish you some more. But I see flesh, bone, and blood, the same things that make you, the same things that make me. I see hunger, love, joy, uniting us. I see that we're all trying to survive. I see we're all in this together, like hundreds of things that make up a meal. Each its own importance, each its own joy. I am thought to find differences, but let's teach each other our similarities. And that's where the poem ends.
Maybe Nirvana.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be that. It could be that. I think this is another favorite of mine somewhere. Hmm. Yeah, this one's a slightly different one. Like all 108, I think there's always 108 different things in this one. My sister was the teacher's pet. She cut her nails, combed her hair neat, answered all the questions, scored well in the exam, never copied either. Name, fame, and awards came to her in hordes. I was happy for her. No comparison was made at home, but everywhere it was her that got all the attention. She went to classes, I went to play. She went to the room, I had television to myself. She studied while I slept well. I was happy as long as I got more to eat than her. I too studied at times just before the exam and passed in flying black and white colors. I just grew up without a fuss, just another kid on the block. So yeah, so that is one more in terms of this. This is number 41. That's where we get into day two. Day two is another adventure in itself. So I will let you get to the poems rather than me telling you what it is. Maybe one last one. So this is number 50. I was the rain, just a single drop from heaven. Soon I was the puddle near the drain. Then I was the drain itself. I was then a small stream, a rivulet, a tributary, a river, a bigger river. And then I was the ocean reborn again. So basically, I wrote this in a space of coaching and some more aspects as to how we see ourselves. Looking at the bigger picture, looking at where things move and how we see ourselves. Every time we are still the same, but the frame of reference keeps changing. And with each reference frame changing, we become different or we see ourselves differently. And that was about these poems. So yeah, and there are, I think, 102 more. Some of them are very small, some of them are very interesting. And I think all of them are beautiful and just the way they are. And also the space that, it's the poems have emerged from a greater wisdom. And I don't know what names to call them. And also the idea is to present this book without any charges to people. I don't know if I can call that as a free ebook, but then the book is available for everybody to read. If they like it, if they see value in it, and they want to pay me for it, they're always welcome to pay me for it. But if they don't like it, and then, it's also absolutely good that they don't pay for it. And if they like it, but they don't want to pay for it, that's absolutely fine. So it's one of the first, it's the second time I'm piloting something like this, and I'm hopefully that the poems will reach you and you will get to have a fantastic reading time with that. So absolutely. Yeah. So anything else before we actually do the reveal? Any questions, any thoughts?
I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
And keep writing, keep inspiring everyone to write. So yeah, all the very best. That's all I can say.
Thank you for that. Born in 3 days. Where is it? I think it's getting born somewhere, so it's not opening. So
Sunil,
mm-hmm.
the other query that I have
Mm-hmm.
is that having written more than 7,000 poems and all that, 7,000 plus poems, what have you found as the inspirational moments where you have written the best of poetry according to you?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think I cannot put categorically say that, something has inspired me to do something. But I think when I've seen people, their emotions, something that they've shared, something vulnerable, something sweet, something the most authentic, and I've somewhere captured that in my memory and put it back out there. I think that's been one of the places where that's happened. And maybe after I've had a good meal. So, I'm very excited after a good meal. That's maybe one of the other times when good poems have come. And yeah, I think just somewhere over a period of time, a single word, a single topic, a single memory, someone passing by, a drive by the bus, anything and everything has stories that I usually love to share. The poems that I love to bring. I think that's how it is. Yeah.
So among these 108 poems that appear in Born in 3 Days,
Mhm.
any of the poems have touched people's vulnerabilities that have struck you to pen down something interesting?
This one's I think stuck mine. So that's one thing that I rediscovered is that somewhere, because in the entirety of why I have a pen name is that it's not Sunil Satyendra that's writing. It's when I'm writing, I'm being not told, but I think there's a higher force, there's a larger connection established somewhere, and that's where things are happening, and that's how poems emerge, and they come from a deeper source, come from the universe. And if you see the cover of the book, that's what it basically is all about. That it's a lot about the universe, a lot of other things that are happening. So that's where things are. Mm. I can't say with some level of surety that neither can I say that okay, it's not anybody else's vulnerability. So there is something for everybody all across, and that's the joy of putting it as untitled verses. Everything is up to interpretation, and whatever interpretation they want to do, that's absolutely their own aspect. Their own.
Pungi, I had something to ask.
Yes, go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to know the flow of thoughts, like I should say whirlwind of thoughts. That's what I think I suggested title. So this whirlwind was, it just came and just went, or this effect happened throughout the day, night, when you started penning down.
I think I wrote in spurts. I didn't write all through the day. So whenever I found time, I wrote. I think in the 3 days, if I had to really look at it, maybe maximum around 10 hours is what I've spent for the entire process. So it wasn't always about the entire timeline that I had put there. So it was most natural. And when I was writing, I was like fully there. There was never a second thought anywhere.
Usually for me, when I hit the pillow, and then these thoughts clamor to me, and then I just put it. Or when I am, the best time I can say that thoughts come to me, I should say, little intelligent thoughts come to me when I am in the restroom, when I'm having a shower. So for you, was it during food, lunch, or tea time? When was your maximum flow of thoughts?
I think it was basically just before I went to sleep. So that was the major aspect. So just before I went to sleep. But true, in terms of sometimes when I was stuck, there were times when I was stuck, and I love cold water baths. So one cold water bath was good for me to get unstuck, specifically somewhere in the early 90s. I think the nervous 90s was also there with me. So at that point, yeah, I had to wait for some time for things to happen. And
So
other
when this 108 happened, did you suffer from writer's block?
writer's block. I don't know if I ever get into writer's block because one of my favorites in terms of handling the writer's block is to write about the writer's block. So this is, I think, one of the tips that I give everybody, saying if you're talking about the
Mhm.
writer's block, the best thing is to write about, if you're in the writer's block, the best thing is to talk about the writer's block. And
Okay.
that solves it for everybody, so it makes it the most easiest thing to do.
Congrats once again. God bless, and may you
Thank
scale Herculean heights of poetry.
Yes, so this is an alliteration, so Herculean Heights. So what are the subject of the poems in this book? I think everything, Sagar. So I don't know if there's melancholy, there's mental health, there's joy, there's people, there's stories, there's possibly one story about a flower vendor. There's one story about the waterfall. So what water falling right now, whatever I read. There's a story about the particular dog that's there as part of our home. I think there's literally so much of different subjects that it's not about one subject. Good. I think we're celebrating the day of love. So I am celebrating the love for poetry through this entirety. Yeah.
ಸುನಿಲ್ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಹಳೇ ಗೆಳತಿ ಹಳೇ ನೆನಪು ಇದ್ರೆ ಓದಿ. ಬೈ ದ ವೇ, ಆರ್ ಯು ಮ್ಯಾರಿಡ್?
Not yet.
Okay, ಹಂಗಾರೆ you have license. Read out if you have written one.
One of the poems in it is that is since I am not married, I'm basically not seeing anybody. So that's why it's so easy to read a poem that talks about love and write about love. So otherwise, if I had somebody to do that, then it would have been very difficult to say that out loud. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That would have not been the case.
You have mistaken. It is only when you get married you can write more poems about love, about all your exes.
I think we will come to that. Possibly another book is going to be born there.
You will have to assume a pen name like Sunil to write that. Not to come in the under attack from your spouse.
This is all information from people who have seen it, heard it, and so I will take it on face value, saying this is what happens.
This call is getting recorded.
That's okay, Sunil. You got a very good tip from, I suppose, Mr. Banerjee.
Yes.
Okay, go under stealth mode. Go ahead. I'm write some 20 more books on those in that stealth mode.
Oh, absolutely. I think the pen name is interesting. So the idea behind Pungi. So every time people ask me, so why such a pen name? So maybe I can say this is one way to escape being known for whatever poems that I've written. So I can just escape with that. So maybe one last question before I do the reveal. So there's 6 more minutes. So any of you want to read any of your poems? There are I think Sagar, I'll just reveal this thing and then maybe also share some more of my poems. So yeah, I will do that. So I'm actually somewhere trying to buy time because the download is not happened properly. So it's not rendering in the laptop. So I'm trying to buy time by asking you to ask me questions.
Have you ever felt you are a coach? Okay. Now you're a writer and more of poet. Have you ever felt whether the poems can give you an opportunity to make a living out of it?
I think I tried that experiment. Maybe not poems, but stories definitely can be used to make a living. My first book, Untitled Verses, I think I very, in a lot of Josh, said yes to it. And, I printed around 1,000 books and around 100 still remain with me after 5 years. So, that is a very real possibility that things may not get sold.
No, 900 were sold.
Hmm?
900 were sold.
Not exactly.
Gift ಕೊಟ್ರಾ?
A majority of the this thing was actually given away for without any charges. So that happened. Yes. Yeah. But I think right now, maybe the last one book. Specifically after I started publishing on my own, I think there's some money coming. So I do self-publish, then I put it into subscriptions. From subscription, I get all 100% of the pay. I don't have to look for, say, possibly some publisher that has to approve of it. So there's no such needs, and that is where I feel like the things have changed. Things are definitely on a upward space. So I think it's almost time. So this book is a 132-page book, and I am hoping that this will enable you to look at life differently somewhere. And yes, so without further ado, I will reveal the first book. I think I have to start sharing. So I had to do some jugaad because it was not rendering, and this is day 1. So it's basically split into day 1, day 2, and day 3. If you're able to just see the screen.
No, it's not. I'm not able to see yet, Sunil.
Okay, cool. Then I've not yet made the reveal. Are you able to even hear me? I don't.
Yeah, it still says.
Yeah, I think I'm back now.
Yeah, we see it.
Yes. You see me, but I don't know if I have been able to share the screen.
No. Yeah. You momentarily we saw.
Yeah. So you are the host now. I think Kiran, you have to give me access to host.
Oh, really? Okay. 1 second. So I should say no. You are. It says you are host.
Something strange. Okay.
Now, okay. It says I'm the host.
Yeah,
Wait, let me make you host. Okay, I made it.
Yes, now I think I should be able to share the screen. And
yes, we see it.
Yes, so the reveal is made. We'll have to maybe wait another. So this is not planned in terms of why the screen is blank. I have a very, very old laptop, so you'll have to give it some time. I don't know if the suspense is killing you, but it definitely is for me.
I feel it's all staged to create this suspense and that what do you call hype.
Now, this is how it looks like. So this is how each of these poem is. So where everything begins. You're born in 3 days. So why this book? So it talks about this aspect of why this book emerged, what is the idea behind it, and I don't know why it's still not opening. So I think yeah, this is got to do with the reveal, and this is the reveal. I don't know why that thing is not happening. So I officially pronounce this book as finally opened, and I cut the ribbon. So I think we can stay clear of that conversation and stop sharing. So the poem
Hey,
launched.
congratulations, Pundi. Amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Really good.
Yeah. So that was the reveal. I don't know, it didn't exactly go as planned, like all things in life.
Why don't you read one of your favorites from the
I don't know if I have a favorite. Wait. So maybe. Yeah. So Sagar was asking for a poem that was about
about your exes?
yeah. No, maybe this was one. This is not more maybe about exes, but yeah. So this one's a very interesting poem. So I have written thousands of poems, but I remember none of them. Have you ever heard of a mother or a father who cannot remember the names of their children? I am possibly one of them.
ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹೊಡೆದಾಗ ಯಾವಾಗ ಯಾರ ಜೊತೆ ಹೊಡೆದ್ವಿ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. It's like that nasha hai. It's just that kick that you get when you write. It's
Yes.
okay to forget.
It's okay to forget, but am I the mother or the father? That's still a question. Am I the river that doesn't remember the droplets, gives it names and remember it? I think I'm the fish in the ocean, thousands of eggs I lay, without bothering how many will hatch, how many will survive. My job is to only birth the eggs, give them a chance to live. What if I remember my poems? Will it make any difference at all? Are they truly mine or gifts that the past gives to the future? I have no ways to control who they are, what they become, they just are. Even if no one sees them, like phytoplankton growing from the debris of whale droppings, they still exist and have a purpose. I know you're reading this, possibly running around in circles of finding meaning. It's the same meaning I think I mean. That's a question without answers. It depends on who I was at the moment I wrote them. Was I a tiger, an elephant, or simply a human? I don't remember my poems, so they're like a penance, a gifts given to time.
Very good. Very nice.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorites because I don't think if you ask me sometime if I remember any of my poems, I don't think I can say yes to that.
So, like you said, if if the parents have 7,000 children, they are sure to forget the names.
Yeah, so that's why I don't even that's why I don't even name them. You know, that is how the space is. Yeah. I think I'm trying to find out.
Have you ever checked India Book of Limca Book of Records or any of that? Is there any record highest number of poems self-published
Per day,
also?
I don't think so. I don't think so. There's a per day space. But I like last time somewhere I checked somewhere, it was like 30,000 poems overall is the highest record. So track record is somewhere around 30K.
ನೋಡಿ
So
ಇನ್ನ 23,000 you have to write.
23,000 I have to get. Yeah, I know.
ನೋಡಿ ಕವಿತಾ ಲೇಖ ಯಜ್ಞ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಲೇಖನ ಯಜ್ಞ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾವ್ಯ ಲೇಖನ ಯಜ್ಞ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಮೂರ್ ದಿನ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಫುಲ್ ಬರೆಯೋದು.
Absolutely. This year I wanted to write 1,000 poems. So if 1,000 is on the cards, then every month this can be a space saying I will write I will write poems, 100 poems, just like that. Yeah. So that's the official aspect. The poems will reach you. The poems are free to read. The poems are the book is free for anybody who is joining in. And also not joining in, they'll also get the version of the book. And then essentially it's more about you reading it, finding value to it, and if you find interesting, whatever is a number that comes to your mind, 1 rupee, 10 rupee, 1,000, 10,000, more than that, I'm happy to receive them. And if you don't want to share anything, but want to just pass it along to the next person and say, look at this poem, that's also absolutely fantastic. This is that space that, the poem should reach anyone and everyone who's interested in reading, wants to read, wants to find that. That's the entire reason as to why this is being written. So that's about it in terms of the official recording and the official announcements. So, if all of you are on board, you can just come along and we can take a snap and share it on my social media of choice, LinkedIn. So anybody else? I'll wait for another minute. Pina is here, fantastic. So anyone else feeling brave and courageous? I'll wait for a minute more and then it should be done.
You have a topic for another poetry.
I think that is always, so there's always something to write about. So yeah, I think if someone also can help me with taking another snap while I also take one, that would be fantastic.
क्यों पटाखे फोड़, अब कौन सा राम पैदा हुआ? अब कौन?
So yeah, another one. Just smile and we should be able to do that. I don't think that's happening. So my computer is acting up. My brain's like the computer's brain is frozen. So somebody else has to take another picture. Maybe this works. Perfect. Yeah. Anyone else who's taken a chair? Yeah, Sagar has taken
Sunil,
one.
I have taken.
Yes. Fantastic.
Sunil,
Yeah.
I have taken one with when the crowd was a little more also. That is there. I've taken that as well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. That's it. The recording is done.
All the best.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm really excited to hear from you as to how the book is, because the book will reach you in a matter of some time. Maybe by tomorrow morning, the book would be out. Feel free to share it to anybody and everybody who has read, who hasn't read, who wants to read, who doesn't want to read. You never know where this book takes them, and life is a way of finding people. And I sign all of my books with this saying that may this book find you. So also the same space saying may this book find you, and possibly birth something that's fascinating and interesting for you. So that's it from my end. Thank you. And
Sunil,
yeah,
you write only in English?
I write currently only in English.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೂ ಬರೀರಪ್ಪ, ನಮ್ಮಂತವ್ರಿಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
And when with that,
ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅರ್ಥವಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮ್ಮಂತವ್ರು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ವರ್ಡ್ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತೀವಿ.